is up, guys? So, everyone wants to have an agency, and the more and more we get into this after COVID and all that stuff that's been happening, the more online has been boosting. And so, a lot of people have been wanting to get an agency lately. A lot of people have been wanting to turn to online, and a lot of people would rather be online than working, obviously, than labor work. But the key thing is to having an online business is knowing your goals, knowing what you have to do in order to set your business, in order to set your foundation. And a lot of people think of having a business that you can just jump into and just like it's a get rich quick scheme, and that's not the case. It's a lot more that goes into business, such as knowing your psychology of sales, knowing their pain points, and knowing how to pinpoint their pain points to the psychology to relate to them on an emotional level. There's marketing, which is keeping it simple, keeping it being patient, and putting them first. And sales, which is relating to them and connecting to them on an emotional level in order to build trust, and in order to get the sale, you have to have trust and to relate to them and to relate to their situation. But aside from that, you need to know how to set your goals and you need to know how to have your business set in place. Because if you're just one person having a business, and say like McDonald's, for instance, they have systems built, they have probably an X amount of money they need to make in order to keep the business going, or they have funnels and systems in place just to keep the business going. And it's not just about the funnels, but the thing I want to get at is setting goals on your appointment setting, because a lot of people lack on appointments. A lot of people, you say how you're not making any revenue, then how many appointments are you getting set up? How many calls have you had in this last month? 5, 10, 15? And that all dictates your revenue or your outcome. And of course, it comes down to your sales and your communication and how you can relate. And that's all practice over time. But it's all a numbers game. And once you realize that your business is based off data, and that you have to read data, you have to be able to understand data, because data is what makes your business. Data doesn't lie, numbers don't lie. Women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. That's just what it is. So if you're having Facebook ads and you get to that point, then you got to understand data. You got to understand data from day one, because if you don't, then you basically have no business. You're basically just going guessing, and you're not going to survive guessing. If you want to get to the big games, you want to get to making a 6-figure agency or a 7-figure agency, you got to know what it is and what it takes to build your business. And so with that said, you got to understand data. You got to understand that if you want a certain amount of sales calls every day, you got to at least make 100. So that's what I've been doing, is 100. And that's what a lot of my mentors have been doing, is setting 100. And once you start to get at least 5 or 10, then you can start to outsource, or you can start to increase, or whatever, just so you can make sure that you have your systems in place. Because you can't just keep going on a business without having systems in place, without knowing your goals, without having a clear understanding of what it takes to make your business happen. So with that said, I challenge you on setting 100 appointment calls. Make that a goal. If you're starting out, make that a goal to get 100 appointments. And how do you do that? It's simple. Just the main thing you can do without spamming somebody is sending them a message. But don't send them like any ordinary message, because I'm tired of getting messages like, hey, what are your goals for the end of this month? What do you have planned for the end of this month? Or like cutting to the chase. I just feel like every relationship that is built, or every friend request that is sent, is going to be based off a sale. Where if I send one, then it's going to be something that is just common, that it's a common thing that it needs to be broken down. It's a common barrier that people need to understand, that you can't just be selling right off the bat to people. You need to be able to relate to them, to negotiate with them, and to see where they are, to see how they are. And if they come from a point where they don't have any money, or they're trying to do this and that, then that ain't, just move on and go to the next call. Then that's call number one, go to call number two, and call number three. But the key thing here with the calls as well is following up. Misunderstand that having a business or making calls, that you have to make those 100 calls and go to the next 100 people and then the next 100 people, when the key thing is following up. So you want to make sure you have them in your pipeline, follow up with them, and the ones that you will know, the ones that you do not need, based off of just qualifying them. If they're not qualified enough, then you can cut them out and move on to the next. But the main thing you need to do is qualify your customers before moving on to the next people, to follow up with them and make sure that you're not just moving on to the next 100 people, because you could be losing a lot of money. So the main thing I would do is call them and then follow up with them on email, and then continue to message them, continue to message them. If they're not qualified, then to continue to move on. But that's what I want to give you guys today, is to make sure that you qualify your people and follow up with them on email or whatever, by whatever means, messenger, and make sure that you can get them on the phone. Make sure you get them on the call, and that's it. Just get them on a consultation call, but don't call it a consultation call. Call it like a strategy session. Call it a one-on-one, whatever it is, because it has to be something that's in it for them. If there's nothing valuable for them, then they're not going to get on the call, because these days a lot of people get calls and they're all saying, we all know what's the end of it, like a webinar. Everyone knows that they're going to be getting pitched to or something. But in this, if there's something that they can get value from, that they can carry on, and you can build trust and build that relationship with them, then you'll be able to follow up with them. You can be able to qualify them, be able to reach out to them, be able to understand them on an emotional level. And so if you can do this, as long as you do that, then, and you set 100 appointments every day, then you are set to go and set to build your business, your agency. But that's all I want to say today. Hope you guys get a lot of value from this. Gonna have another great day, another great week. Let's continue to make progress and continue to make things happen. Peace.